Please tell me everything's all good.
Everything's all good. Did you include Can I Lie or no?
Oh no, what's going on?
It's all good.
Come on, Mike. Don't do this to me.
I'm getting a lot of static from the ref.
It's because he's probably out of range. He's slow.
How are the new headsets that are actually like?
I don't know. We should probably get everybody wired up.
I was just gonna say.
Hey, just checking in to see if everything's all good. See you next. Thanks for getting us ready for me. We tried for 15-20 minutes and now until everything's all good. So I gave her the right to go to TSM.
Anybody?
You guys have to get the I've just basically said, look, Matt's busy.
His headsets are still better than those rented ones.
When you arrive,
Those rented ones.
DTH and Carbs know what's happening. I sent him questions. I told Carbs and D what's happening. Double check that it's all good and everything works. And okay, thanks. Yeah.
Yes.
Check 1, 2.
Check 7-4.
Always gonna be one.
That is me.
Do we want to do a run?
Hey, BK.
Nope.
Do you want to do just a little run through of your intro?
Yeah. So where are we doing this?
I kind of guess wanted to go lower down there, but it's up to you. Where do you?
The anthems will be on the other side, so we'll shoot it from behind. That's just the only unfortunate part.
which is good news.
Yeah, and that mic is for both you guys.
Okay. And I have it set on tele rather than normal, as in directional. That's good. Okay. Test, test, test. Mic test, 1, 2. Ellerslie Rugby Park in Edmonton, Alberta. Game 1 of the Junior World Rugby Trophy qualifier between Canada and the United States. Brian Kelly joined by Gareth Reese here, about 10 minutes away from kickoff. What did you have for lunch today, Gareth?
Very excited for this. Two very athletic teams, Brian, the big Americans, but the highly skilled Canadians as well. Should be a good battle. Looking forward to some good matchups. Number 12 and number 10, they'll be playing against each other. The same jerseys there. Canada cruelly defeated this time. What are we going to do, 3 or 4 questions? Yeah,
same thing.
So we can maybe refer to last year.
Yeah.
These guys have been in town for a week. I suppose as the Canadians how many cap guys?
6 returnees from last year.
Yeah, but not cap guys. They got 1 cap guy, I think.
I think it's at 3.
Oh, did it? Oh, okay, then I'll leave that out then.
Yeah.
How many cap guys do we have?
3.
Oh, okay.
Flip sides, you two. Gotta get the name key on the right side.
Got it.
That's one way of doing it.
And my esteemed colleague here is trying out a new fashion trend.
Yeah, it's going to be cold. Hey, Brad. Hey, Mac. How you doing? Look at those death traps. Metal fucking bleach.
Yep.
That's okay.
So this is not live, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Well,
Okay.
Could be.
Nope.
I'll count you out when they look. You guys ready?
Ready. So is he. Don't worry, he's good to go.
We're not taping it, right? We're not taping it. It's just.
No,
Yeah,
it's just a run through.
Yeah. Okay, we're good.
So yes, I'm ready for the run through.
Hello and welcome to Ellerslie Rugby Park in Edmonton, Alberta. We are just moments away from kickoff of Game 1 of the 2-match Junior World Rugby Trophy qualifying series between Canada and the United States. Brian Kelly, happy to be on the sideline, bringing you live coverage here on Facebook. I'm joined now by Gareth Reese. Gareth, Canada lost the opener last year by 1 point to fail going to the trophy. How much is today about redemption for them?
Well, there's an element of that because a lot of players were involved in both games. Cruel, the last kick of the game, USA beating Canada, but they've had a much better preparation this year, using the tours to Europe for the age grade teams. Also, they've been in camp a lot longer, and Jeff Williams and his team have done a good job, so I'm pretty excited about what we're going to see today.
Let's talk about the Canadian roster. Head coach Jeff Williams spoke about the really strong leadership. 3 members capped this year on the America's Rugby Championship. Matt Bukaboom, Cole Keith, and George Barton at inside center, leading as captain. How big of a role are those guys going to play?
I think having a full cap under their belt, that's irreplaceable for the Americans. Have a couple of players, but you good?
You're good.
BK, just hold the mic down a little lower.
Little lower? Okay. Don't want to give away all of our good, right? Good lines, right?
So yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Is that 3 questions there?
That was 2. That'll be 3. So probably one more about the Americans.
Scrum, tackle, and try as Canada battles the USA for a spot at the 2019 Rugby World Cup in Japan. Cheer on Canada versus USA June 24th at Tim Hortons Field, presented by DHL. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.ca.
Maybe it's the 2.5 centuries of friendships that have begun over Guinness. Maybe it's our welcoming balance of roasted bittersweet flavor, or how the long-lasting head keeps every sip fresh over the course of a long conversation. But there is something about a Guinness that reminds you there's less that separates us than brings us together. Here's to us all.
Rookie rugby is a fun, safe, and affordable way to get introduced to the great game of rugby.
I love seeing little kids out there enjoying the game as much as I did when I was younger.
It really teaches a wide variety of skills, catching, passing, evasive running, so it's good for developing athletes.
I think there's a lot of skills you can develop if you take the contact element out of it, and playing flag rugby or touch rugby is a good way to do it.
By making it flag, then the parents are a lot more comfortable and the kids are also a lot more comfortable to try things.
I think it's important that you start at a young age to develop that skill, but also you're developing like a culture and a community.
I like that everybody comes together and they all take a knee and then they all listen to coach.
It felt like we were like watching the rugby sevens but actually playing because it was really fast.
Best part was being happy for your friend to score.
I think the most important thing is just to keep it fun, so that way we keep kids involved in playing rugby. It's a great sport and it's a great school of life.
My best friends are from my rugby club. Like, these are the boys that I grew up with playing rugby, and you play really hard and you go out and you put in a lot of effort, but then after the game you have a good time with your buddies and your friends.
Rugby is definitely one of the sports where you get close to everyone really fast, and by having teammates that are by your side at a young age, you just stick with them for so long. You're stuck with them.
If we didn't play rugby, we wouldn't know each other.
Rookie rugby is a great place to start.
To get involved, visit rookierugby.ca.
DHL Express. We score at the speed of yellow.
The best piece of advice I ever got was not to give up. I was cut from the provincial teams the first couple of times, and then I had other coaches after that tell me that I'd never make it and succeed in Canada, and really didn't think I had a chance in rugby. Feeling of being underestimated just gives you more want. I go to the gym every day, working as hard as I can, on and off the field, to make it on the international scene.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Ellerslie Rugby Park in Edmonton, Alberta. We are just moments away from kickoff of Game 1 of the two-match Junior World Rugby Trophy qualifying series, Canada taking on the United States here. Canada failed to qualify last year by 1 point down in Texas off a last-second kick from Ben Sema. Gareth, looking at this roster here today, how excited are these boys, and how much is today about redemption?
Well, you're right. That was a cruel way to be knocked out of the World Trophy. These two matches here this week in Alberta, that's how they get back to the World Trophy. So I know for Jeff Williams, the coach last year, was scarred by that result, and several returning players want to set the record straight here against the USA today.
Let's talk about the American roster. 6 returnees from last year's team that qualified and went to the Junior World Trophy. They'll be led by their captain, Melon Al-Jabouri, from the blindside flanker. What are you expecting from the Americans here today?
Well, Al-Jabouri, a 7 specialist. He's been actually on the senior tour, been to Singapore this year. Very, very athletic, and the American side always is. The question is, are they a bit programmed? Some of the teams they come from, quite college programs that are very much static, like Cal Berkeley. So that's going to be the question today. Aaron Matthews in the 12 jersey, another man to watch, the man from St. Mary's. Very exciting if he gets any kind of space.
Jeff Williams, the head coach of Canada, talked earlier today about how strong his leadership group has been. There's 3 members that were capped this year in the America's Rugby Championship. Bukaboom, Cole, and inside center, the captain. How big of a role are those 3 going to play today?
Yeah, well, Barton has come back from France. He had a shot at this last year. That's Georgie Barton, the captain. Didn't go his way. He has a lot to set his record straight, I think. He scored a try in his first cap, an international cap, so he's got something about him. He makes things happen. But to have the likes of Bukaboom up front, who got to see his brother captain the full 15 aside last weekend, I think that's going to be hugely valuable. And I also think the Canadian team have had a lot more time together. A lot of these players have come off European tours for the national under-18s, under-19s team. So I really think it's going to be a very different side, a lot more preparation, and hopefully that the benefit will be in the next 2 games for Canadian fans to see 2 wins.
And we have so far much better weather than last Saturday's game, Canada taking on Georgia. Stay tuned. We'll be just a few moments away from O Canada and the Star Spangled Banner here at Ellerslie Rugby Park. Passionate rendition of O Canada and the Star Spangled Banner here at Ellerslie Rugby Park, and we are just moments away from kickoff here. Canada wearing their traditional red with white trim, and the Americans with the white and blue. My name is Brian Kelly. Happy to be bringing you sideline coverage here with World Rugby Hall of Famer Gareth Rees. Gareth, as someone who's worn the Canadian jersey many a time, how exciting of a feeling is this right now for these young men?
Well, pregame, very important. We're not going to see the standoff we saw at over in Tbilisi, the New Zealand team against France, but there is pride online. These Americans, a very strong outfit, very proud to play for their country, the red, white, and blue. And the Canadians, of course, we mentioned last year's difficult result. The last kick of the game saw the Americans knocking Canada out of the Junior World Trophy. And a Canadian side with a lot of experience but a lot of pride on hand. And this is what you play for, Brian. All the preparation is the opportunity to take on the team. And, of course, they've got the USA tonight here in Ellerslie and then Saturday as a precursor to the Canada versus Romania full test match.
The World Rugby Under-20 Trophy gets underway in Montevideo, Uruguay, August 29th. Both these sides looking to book their spot here and get underway. Of course, the winner will go based on aggregate from this game and Saturday's. A high-hanging kick getting us underway. Knocked back there by the Canadian player, bobbled quickly. Knock on, and the Canadian player playing it in front of him, so we'll have a penalty well within range here. Early opportunity for the Americans to get 3 points on the board.
Yeah, good high kick, but a nervous start from Canada. And interesting, USA have chosen to take the line out. They're going to kick to touch here and take the line out. So not taking the possible 3 points that were on offer.
Yeah, on the line, please.
Referee Chris Asmus from Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah, good appointment for Chris Asmus, his assistants today, Dave Crisp from Edmonton on one sideline and Mike O'Brien, the American, on the other.
Big forward pack from the Americans going to their captain, Jabori, setting the drive 5 meters out. Canada trying to reset. And the maul is on here. Could be the first try. Just can they get the ball down? It's recycled once again. Just 1 meter out now, driving over the line. Referee Asmus is right there. He's got a good vantage point. Calling to use it. Trying to work to the open side, driving over, getting it down. That is the big man, Damon Torres from Life University. So the Americans wasting no time getting on the board with the opening try, just a minute and a half in.
Well, that's international rugby. You make the early mistake, as Canada did, not gathering the kickoff, and ruthless pressure, a couple of darts at the line, and then well recognized that it was on out wide. The big man, Torres, standing out there, and he's able to ride the tackle, and in fact gives a bit of chat back to Fraser Hurst, who wasn't able to bring him down. So first blood to the Americans. Looked pretty ruthless there, Brian, off that drop kickoff.
Captain George Barton having a word with his side underneath the posts.
We mentioned the try score there from Life. This team, as the conversion attempt comes now, it's high. Just out of your shot there, but he's just pushed it. A lot of Life players, a lot of Lindenwood players, that Mid-South Division 1A group represented well.
Just don't lie on the ball on a penalty, please. They were in front of the mark, but if not, I would have penalized
Hear
you.
the referee's voice. That is part of our broadcast here. You'll hear the referee's input to the players. And so Canada, really the first touch of the ball other than the knock-on, trying to get back into this one.
Here's Will Kelly, member of Canada's 15 centralized program in Langford, British Columbia at the Center of Excellence. That ball is knocked on there by Jarrett Williamson. So both teams showing a little nerve and a little bit of anxiousness on the opening kickoffs. So now we're switching sides, going right to the other 22. Scrum down, Canadian put in.
That player who picked at the ball, the American, was not in front of the knock-on, so it won't be a penalty, just a scrum, but a good chance to see our two scrums here. Coach Hunter been working with the Canadians, and the Americans always big and strong up there through Wengluski and Worsted today.
Bind.
Canadian front row, Liam Murray, DeWalt Kotze, and Cole Keith.
Okay.
Good initial push from the Canadians. Here's Hurst from the back. Americans look like they could be a little bit offside. And a penalty to the Canadians.
Tight head going in.
Well, you heard the referee say the tight head going in, not driving straight, but I don't know why the whistle went. There's advantage on clean possession for Canada. This is international rugby. They should have a chance to try something.
Captain, thank you.
But they will have a chance of a line out 5 meters out. Great opportunity, Brian.
And that's exactly what you need. The Canadians are fired up. As soon as they won that penalty, all the forwards are congratulating each other, saying, good job, fellas. and keep pushing on here. Let's see what they can get going here.
Hang on. Can you go
on a 5-meter line out?
Be a little bit of concern there for J.D. Stevenson, the American coach, that first scrum. But now it is Canada. They've hit the line out.
Liam Dole catching that one from the middle jumper. Ball into the hands now. Looks like Cole Keith. Referee's asking him to use it.
Yeah, 4 out now.
Teal's got his hands on it. Driving forward. Still moving. Referee's allowing it to play on. Goes to ground. Canada needs to recycle this or they're going to lose it. Hurst has to get quick.
Ball's on the ground. Stay up. The ball's on the ground. Stay up.
Well, that's perfect audio there from the referee. Ball is on the ground. Stay up is the call.
Ball's on the ground available. Stay up.
Okay, a bit of a call there. He said it several times, the Americans. Keep on your feet. That maul went down, a very patient maul from Canada.
The ball was on the ground, and then players came off the feet. Correct. If the ball's above, it's still a maul, it's no problem.
Hey boys, big scrum, big scrum.
Crouch. Bind. Yeah, both sides.
There we go. So this scrum, for those new to the game, that has to be set on the referee's commands. As we said, Canada in the red jerseys got a little bit of an edge on that first scrum. 6 meters out. And they will be looking to get a solid platform and then get a chance for Jake Teal.
Crouch.
You may have seen up on the Rugby Canada website a feature on him. Very athletic and very strong in the number 8 jersey there at the back of that Canadian scrum.
From Abbotsford, British Columbia. Brothers at the inside center position. Good push here from the Canadians. Teal just keeping it at his feet, but it's spilled out, so he's going to pick and go himself, driving right at the number 10. That's Sam Walsh making the tackle. Here goes Canada. Smashing forward there is Bookaboo. And touching it down there.
6.
The Canadians answering back to the challenge. And we are 6 minutes in. 1 try apiece here. That's great stuff there by the forwards of Canada.
Well, as we said, it was Teal that set the platform. He got the hard yards. And watch the second effort from Matt Bookaboo here. He's driving. He's hit initially. But that second effort, he reaches out and scores. So an excellent response for the Canadians, having gone down early.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned, Matt Bookaboo, number 5 jersey there. Those of you both sides of the border will know the family name from ice hockey circles. But now the family from Lindsay, Ontario, serves Canada in men's and women's 15s. Brett Bookaboo and their cousin playing for the women's side down in New Zealand. And that off shot there, Brian, a poor, very poor attempt from Will Kelly. And he's missed that conversion, so they'll score.
After the try, you leave it. Do you understand?
Will Kelly just rushing his kick and slotting it off the near post. So we have a 5-all game. International rugby, you cannot miss opportunities like that. The Americans penalized for being in front of the kicker. So both of these teams
just make sure their timing is good, okay?
Having a bit of issues early on here. So we'll have a scrum down, great attacking platform, midfield here for the Canadians.
Yeah, and I did notice on the initial kickoff, the Americans were very close. I wonder if he'd had a word, referee Chris Asmus. But that's costly given what the Americans got out of their last kickoff. And a midfield scrum, Brian, both sides available. And stepping up to the top of your screen, just out of shot there, is fullback Aidan McMullen with lots of space. There he is, just on the edge of your shot there.
Bind. Set. Just wait.
Solid platform.
Good push there from the Canadians. Here's Teal. He's got Hurst with him. Now a little show and go from Hurst, breaking the gain line. Driving forward, staying on his feet, finally brought down now. Teal securing the ball. Here's Dole driving forward with some support. Cole Keith.
A little bit isolated.
Canadians helping him out.
Americans offside in the midfield. The referee said play on.
Good leg drive there from Liam Murray. Canada has options out here on this open side. Will Kelly goes himself, trying to get the offload. Goes to Anton Ngongo. And we have try time here for Anton Ngongo, the man from Castaway Wanderers in Victoria, British Columbia. The offload came from Will Kelly off an American player and landing right in the hands of the speedy winger. And we have our second try for the hosts.
Well, both teams seem to hesitate. That was the offload. It could have gone to Barton on the short ball. It gets bobbled around. You heard the referee say back off White. So play on. did Anton Ngongo, in fact. Yeah. And I guess the Americans are a little bit guilty of freezing there, thinking there may be a knock-on call.
That ball going off Lorenzo Thomas's hands, the outside center for the Americans. Bit unfortunate for him. But nevertheless, Canada scoring their second try here, taking a 10-5 lead. We'll see if Will Kelly can be a little bit sharper on the boot on this one, about 14 meters in from the touchline.
Well, Will Kelly, who's been training this year out in Langford at the Center of Excellence as part of the National Men's 15 Centralized program, has been kicking well. Lots of time to work on his kicking. He'll be very disappointed with that first attempt that went off the post. Looking for a clean strike here. The right footer bending it from right to left. Much better contact. Beautifully straight down the middle. A crucial extra 2 points for Canada.
A lot of these players have never represented their country before, so their understanding of getting the nerves settled, getting set into the game, and playing rugby. Will Kelly looking sharp on that kick. Score now 12-5 for the Canadians.
The same kick, long, high hanging kick. This time claimed by Canada.
Taken well there on the far side by Elias Ergas, the winger.
Inside.
Here's Kelly. Chance to clear into touch. Beautiful kick there from the fly half, gaining about 40 meters. That is world class. And that's good, exactly what the Canadians are looking for.
Yeah, good strike, good exit strategy from Canada. Virtually no wind here at Ellerslie tonight on a Tuesday,
Let's go.
just after 7 p.m.
Same for them. Okay. Keep it open. Keep it open. Open.
So good opportunity for U.S. to get possession again and get a drive going.
Wait.
They go to the skipper.
Into the midfield now. Here's the fiery back line for the Americans, and Barton can't make that tackle, and a good burst of speed there from the fullback, Christian Rodriguez. Americans.
Number 14, it's over there. It's over. It's over here.
Lots of chatter from both teams you can hear, but the high tackle was the penalty.
14. High tackle.
I think it was Aidan McMullen. I don't know if it was him, but above the shoulder line.
Anton Ngongo, pardon me.
Yeah.
Try scorer. World Rugby, of course, this year brought in new tackle laws. Anything above the shoulders looked at as a yellow card,
George,
potential red or a penalty.
And Brian going back, an excellent attack from the Americans, but poor defense from the Canadians jumping out of the line. Aidan McMullen didn't know what he was doing there, and Americans almost went through with a beautiful run. Thomas Lorenzo linking up.
USA are 1 for 1 so far with the driving maul. Going to Al Jabouri, the captain, setting the drive, but the ball has been spilled. Pick and go from the back, about 2 meters away. That was Iscaro. Canada has to reset their defense now. Brought down there is 14. Torres, the try scorer. Into the open field now. Quick show and go from the fly half. Big tackle in the midfield there.
Leave it.
Quick recycle. Here's Al Jabouri. Brought down well by Kotze. Canada about 7 meters from their try line. Spin ball out wide. They've got a man advantage here. Ergas can't bring his man down. They're about 1 meter shy. Canada has to be strong on defense here.
Advantage offside.
Pardon me, 5 meters away now. Offside advantage for the Americans. Plenty of bodies out in this open field. Al Jabouri met by 2 Canadians. Wrapped up well there by Bukaboom. We're going to come back to the earlier penalty.
Hang on, it's way over there. Yeah, on the line, please. Offside.
Referee still hasn't given the mark here. I think the Americans looking to go quickly.
This player here, offside.
Through Ruben DeHaas, their vice captain. He was here last year, fighting this one out. He knows what it's like to beat the Canadians. And the quick tap, it is.
Canada sleeping off that. And a try is awarded. Smashing it.
I'm going to check.
The referee initially gave it. Now he's going to go over and check with his assistant official. The Canadians appealing that he may have lost it. It was Lorenzo Thomas.
Sorry, David, did you come in with something there? Yeah, have you seen the grounding over here?
I have not got a clear grounding. I believe it went down onto the player's foot.
Onto the player's foot, then lost forward. Okay, thanks. No try, lost forward.
There we go. So it's all in the question, Brian.
He said it went on the player's foot and then gone forward.
Mr. Referee, the assistant official saying, are you asking me a question? Did you see clear grounding? No, I didn't. So Don't know if we'll get to see it again.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. First of all, you're not privy to our conversation. And second of all, that's incorrect. So I'd appreciate if you never say that again. Thank you.
There's the replay. He gets over the line, but he needs to get it down on the grass. But there's a question that it was on the player's, Canadian player's foot.
Stand up. Yeah. No, you need to be left. Yeah. I'm just asking you to be left. Yes, sir.
Lots of conversation here, perhaps too much, I'd have to say, between the players and the referee. Referee needs to establish himself as the sole judge. Big scrum.
Bind.
Canada put in, but they're backed right up on their try line.
Hurst with the put in at the feet of Teal. Good speed
there's
there
space.
from the number 8. Show and go. This is a great burst of speed here from Teal. And just going off the hands of the American player. Play on, says the referee.
Knock on.
But the knock on is called. So Canada getting out of harm's way, getting up to the halfway line. Great pace there from Jake Teal, the big number 8, who has played on Canada's Maple Leaf Development Sevens program. We've seen the pace. But referee Chris Aspis wanting to have a word with the two captains. Let's see if we can hear it.
Can you just leave it? I'll deal with you in a second.
As we mentioned, Brian, a lot of chatter.
Yeah. All right, so this game's about 15 minutes old. But again, your players have to be focused on their roles.
Yeah.
Same thing on this side. Okay, well, we'll deal with the refereeing, but it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
So can you deal with this player here? Thank you. Just come over there. You do the same.
All right, so there you heard it. Just settle the teams down. Often the job of an international captain. But you got to go back to that break, Brian. And Jake Teal, his inexperience showing there. A fantastic break. We know he's athletic. But trying the risky one-handed pass that doesn't go to hand, he really needs to keep possession, to keep putting pressure on the Americans, let them off the hook. So a great break, a wonderful opening, but no reward for Canada.
Time on, please. Crouch. Bind. Set. Early.
That one goes down, and the referee's saying the Canadians went in early and went down. Penalty against them.
Referee Asmus asking the American player to take the tap behind the scrum. Don't come a few meters up.
That was really finicky. There was no need to bring that back.
Here's Walsh, show and go. Into the Canadian territory, but a little too high. Brought down there by Curry. Blindside flanker for Canada. Here's the captain, Al Jabbouri.
Rock.
To Haas. Good tackle here by the Canadians. Barton wrapping up Nafi Ma'afu. Al Jabbouri once again. Clearly their strike runner brought down by Liam Murray. De Haas. Walsh. Two players outside of him. Burst of speed here from the Americans. Good Bosch there by the open winger, Harley Wheeler from Life University. Finally brought down well inside Canadian territory now. De Haas finds Al Jabbouri, bobbles it, but maintains. Held up by Curry. Tackle. Not letting him go to ground. Referee saying it's tackled. Good phases here. Walsh. Ma'afu. Trying to recycle this ball. Canadian player trying to roll away. That's Bartning does.
The first time the Americans putting together, this is their 6th phase. Looking for holes in that Canadian defense.
Ball nosed forward there by Al Jabbouri. Cole Keith just trying to get it out there to Elias Urgas, playing with the advantage. We're going to come back to the knock-on here. So
wow.
8 or 10 phases there for the Americans, but finally spilled forward.
Sorry, Brian, but the whistle's gone again. That is good ball for the Canadians. They've got a midfield full of big forwards, and I don't know why he's coming back to the knock-on.
You are, and I'll keep them stable.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sorry about the chair.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
So excellent play from the Americans, putting some phases together, and I've got to say, early on, Harley Wheeler, the Life University product, has looked very strong on that far side, coming back in field, dropping the shoulder. But that knock-on there.
Do not fall over like you did the last scrum. That's why you got free kicked.
Costing the Americans possession. Another discussion going on. Cole Keith, the man from Nova Scotia, via James Bay, asking the referee what was wrong.
Sussex, New Brunswick, Garrett.
Sorry, New Brunswick. Excuse me.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Just wait.
That's a better scrum from Canada.
At the feet of Teal. Going once again. Wrapped up there by the flanker. Here's Urgas throwing it back inside. Looks to have been forward, knocked on by the Canadians.
Knock on red.
Just to my left is Coach Jeff Williams and the coaching staff saying keep it in, keep it in. When the scrum is moving like that, the reason Teal is getting runs off the base of the scrum is because the Americans are having to commit to the scrum, keep their shoulder down, and that's when he breaks, there's going to be space for them. So I wonder if that message will get on the field for the Canadians to keep the pressure on at scrum time.
Fantastic.
Possibly play for penalties as well.
Hard to believe we're only 17 minutes into this game with a 12-5 lead for Canada. Plenty of offense from both sides here early on.
Very scrappy from both teams. Let's hope it settles down and we get some rhythm to this.
Yeah. Just close the space on this side.
Yep, a little bit loose at the scrum.
Same thing for them.
Obviously, the Americans trying to disrupt the pressure that Canada's putting on them. Canada trying to bring it through. So a natural give and take, and very difficult for referee Chris Asmus to try and keep both sides under control. And of course, safety is paramount for these scrums these days in rugby. And we will reset there.
It's fine, you're good? Okay. Yeah, let's just get the setup right, okay? You're coming in very fast. Let's slow that setup down and we'll have better outcomes. Thank you.
Little word there for Jack Iscaro, the Cal Berkeley man.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Just wait.
Good pressure from the Reds. The crowd likes it.
Well, look at the emotion there by the Canadians, cheering on their forward pack, driving the Americans back and earning a penalty. Fantastic work by the boys in red.
Well, as we noted, Brian, there's lots of ways the scrum can bring advantage. Obviously, you need to secure your own possession, which is a struggle for the Americans right now. But you can also pick up penalties and you can pick up territory through the kick that follows. So Canada turning defense into offense right there.
Yeah, line is yours, Reds.
Just inside the 22 now. Line out ball for the Canadians. Coming from Coetzee, UBC Old Boys Ravens, originally from Edmonton, Alberta. Into the midfield now, taken up well there by Teal, but he's hammered back. No call there by the referee. Looks to have been turned a little bit, but play on. Ball is bobbled by Bukaboom, knocked on.
Knock on.
So an uncharacteristic knock on there by Bukaboom.
I think that's a great tackle. I think we're going to see it's Jack Iscaro, the hooker. Textbook tackle, safe, no penalty there. He just drove him back, and I think Teal knows it. He was just a little bit high in his running position. But credit the Berkeley man there.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Here's the replay. Let's see if we get it in shot.
No problem.
For number 2. And that's a big tackle. Excellent work.
Yeah, can you keep your space? Yeah.
Nearing the halfway point of the first half.
American scrum half, Ruben DeHaas with his head up, looking to see if there's anything on. You see most of the back line.
All right, so you've been free kicked once.
To the top
If you
of the
go
screen.
head-on-head with him again, it's a penalty. Can you stay in your channel, please? Can you stay in your channel, please?
So these front row boys
Stay in your channel.
instructed to stay in their channel, as you hear loud and clear there. Obviously, the dark arts of the front row, players trying it on. That time they were head-to-head. The referee doesn't want to see that.
Bind. Set. Just wait.
Halfway through this first half, and it's more Canada scrum pressure. The ball pops out the side.
Another strong push there by the Canadians. Going up for that one. Bobbled by multiple players here. Finally landing on there. Damon Torres. Pick and go here coming from Jorstad. DeHaas going for a box kick. Almost blocked by Will Kelly. Here's the first chance for McMullen, and he spills that ball forward. Opportunity for the Americans with the advantage.
Keep working, Juan.
DeHaas.
Advantage over.
To Walsh. Advantage is over. Here's Rodriguez. Got 2 players outside of him. Ball spilled forward there by the outside center. So both teams can't hold on to the biscuit. Attacking situations.
Yeah, mistakes all around this right at the moment, unfortunately. And there was a telling matchup there. Aaron Matthews got the pass away, but a finishing, crushing blow from the Canadian captain, George Barton. And then the ball was knocked on outside. Doesn't seem we couldn't get more than 2 or 3 phases here. It's a dry, we should note it's a dry evening, nice and warm, a little bit of wind picking up from right to left on your screens, but not much to speak about. And good advantage ball wasted there from the Americans.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
So will we see them keep it in as instructed by coach last time? They're trying. The American back row standing up.
Little chip kick coming in from Will Kelly, taken beautifully there by Teal, but swatted down by the American player, equal to the challenge. That's a sharp bit of athleticism there by Kelly, but a high box kick coming from DeHaas. And Ngongo will have to get under this.
All backwards.
Ooh, that looks like a turnover. He's on his feet, and he has rights.
That was James O'Neill, the man from UVic Vikes from Cochrane, Alberta. Saw the American player was isolated, showed his hands that he was not touching the player, then got right on it and poached that ball. And Canada, knowing that this game is all about points, pointing towards the sticks.
Yeah, well, again, they had an incursion through one of the Teal brothers. Josh Teal went through. This time the risky pass may have been advised, as had it gone to hand, it was try time. The American just got back and cleaned it up. A poor clearing kick ensued. And then we saw the discipline there for James O'Neill. Not play the ball in offside position, and then he stayed on his feet and he had rights and picked up the ball. The American player isolated there, and this will give Will Kelly an opportunity to add to the Canadian lead.
.41 meters out, almost 15 in from the sideline.
Not his best strike. In fact, it would have been just short and just to the right. So Will Kelly 1 from 3 so far. Wow, massive drop kick into space.
Smart play there by the American, realizing the Canadians were sleeping. Here's McMullen. Opportunity, goes to the boot. A strong left-footed kick. If this bounces out, that is well struck there by the man from Montreal, Quebec. That was a beauty.
Well, that's as good as it gets, Brian. The left foot, composed, he gathered, he nudged it, and obviously has to bounce before it can go out. Great stuff. And nothing that the American fullback, Christian Rodriguez, could do there. Melinda Woodman had no options, not even for a quick line out.
Tight end not being in his space. Has it improved? Yeah, it has.
The grass here is actually very long, and be fair to the ground staff, they've got another under-20s match and a full test match on Saturday. So the ball on those kicks is sticking up and catching the grass. U.S. do hit their target.
Stop. Another box kick coming from DeHaas. Under it there is Urgus, but that one finds touch. Ball boy getting spilled over. Thank you to our many volunteers that help out at all of our Rugby Canada international events.
Good exit strategy from the Americans. The educated boot
I'll get you a space
of Ruben DeHaas. The man who's playing his rugby down in New Zealand at Scots College.
Time on, please.
Spent some time in Hong Kong, but now vying for that American Eagles jersey. Canada with possession.
Here's Kelly driving forward now. Teal to Teal. The Teal connection, touching down for try number 3 for Canada. Well, you know they're going to be cheering in Abbotsford, British Columbia. The Teal boys connecting for the 3rd score for the hosts.
Well, again, it's the power and the guile. This time much lower in the contact, drives the tackle. And I don't know if they've done that in the back garden with John looking on and encouraging, and Mum as well. But that is textbook stuff, and that is very good news for the Canadians. Of course, Mum Jen, a full international for the Canadian side as well. So it's good a pedigree as you'll find in Canada. And this time Kelly does add to go 50%. So I think a sign there, Brian, for the Canadian coaching staff and indeed the players. A soft midfield that several times Canada have got through. And when they go to the shortened line out and put Teal in the midfield, they're getting some reward.
26 minutes gone here in the first half, 19-5. And if you're just joining us, the decider, the winner between these two games will be based on aggregate points. So the goal of this game is to win and win big and set yourself up big for the game on Saturday, 12 o'clock Mountain Time, where we will decide. But that ball is spilled forward there off the hands of Teal.
Knock on red.
So we'll have another scrum here for the Americans.
And Brian, that's the inexperience again. Having just put a dagger into the Americans, the Canadians just want to hold possession, put more pressure on them. And by that difficult pass and the knock on, they're giving the U.S. a huge opportunity to get right back into this game. Sometimes you just execute your exit strategy,
Crouch.
do everything basics well,
Bind.
and then keep the pressure on. But now, 22 meters out, the U.S. will have a chance. We haven't seen a great deal of the American backline. As I mentioned off the top, Aaron Matthews, very, very dangerous. Also Lorenzo Thomas. See if they can create something equal to what the Teals just created for Canada.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Yeah, good work. Wait.
Another strong push by the Canadians, but the Americans get it out well. There's Walsh. Out to Rodriguez. Slips up, and Ngongo brings him down right away. Just outside the 22. Here's DeHaas. Driving it forward there. Ma'afu. DeHaas once again to Walsh. Al-Jabouri trying to go for the jumping offload, but Cole Keith is there right away to make the tackle.
Backward.
Referee says it went backwards. Good tackle coming in by Kotze. Canadian player looks to be down in the midfield. That is Cole Keith. Keith is coming into these two games with a bit of troubles from his time down in New Zealand, so we'll keep an eye on him. Driving forward there is Ma'afu.
Good work.
Here's Walsh, a little show and go, stepping off the inside foot, taken well there by Curry.
It's stolen.
Stolen there by the Canadians, but knocked forward. Rodriguez gets it out to Matthews.
Advantage over.
Advantage over. Good burst of speed there. Wengluski, the loose-head prop, going for a rumble. Walsh standing still. Canada looking a little flat in their defensive line. High ball coming over the top. Little grubber kick, trying to find the hands of Brian Nault from Central Washington University. Little nudge there. Not sure if that was the right option, considering Canada was on the back foot after a few phases.
Well, I'm pretty sure American coach J.D. Stevenson will say it's the wrong option, a shocking option from Lorenzo Thomas using the boot. Canada trying to put pressure on the Americans before those two passes come in and trying to steal ball. They've stolen on several occasions, and a good one-on-one from James O'Neill again at the tackle, but he lost it forward. So this American backline, they've been together for a week, but they're just not looking like they're gelling. Some crazy flip passes out the back. And there's some very talented runners there, but they're just not working well together off each other at the moment in the American backline.
We have our first substitution of the game.
And it may be at HIA. Brian had injury assessment. Cole Keith just being checked out. Obviously safety first. When in doubt, sit them out. That is the Rugby Canada policy and the World Rugby policy. So he will be checked out to make sure he's got no concussion symptoms or any problem, and the player will be allowed to be subbed on to give him a break so the game can continue.
Taken well at the front there by Liam Dole. Here's Kelly. And another big hit in the midfield there. That one's on Teal. Little too high in the contact once again. Here's Will Kelly.
Just stand.
Beautiful clearance kick. That one will bounce out at USA's 40. Ngongo getting on his horse to try and get down there and break that ball up. Good heads-up play there by the winger.
Yeah, Ngongo did his job, but so did the whole team. An exit strategy that's drawn up on the chalkboard. Line out one, hit midfield with the big man Teal. Ball recycled, Kelly in the pocket, 60-meter kick, and Ngongo downfield pressure. Very well coached Canadian exit strategy there.
Scaro going to the mid-jumper, but
pressure.
Stolen well there by Liam Dole. Drive forward there by Liam Murray. Hurst.
Timing is good.
Referee saying the American players are perfectly onside. Hurst to Kelly. Going himself, the Americans flying up on defense. Knocked on there by Connor Sampson, first touch for the replacement front rower, so both sides can't hold on to the ball.
Well, Brian, I'm warning there's a little bit of warmth, if there's a little bit of humidity on the ball, because these are uncharacteristic drops from both teams. An interesting referee Asma was saying the Canadians had a look at the American line speed, the pressure that they were on side, and it's very, very close to me. And now the Canadians are playing with their heads up and not holding on to the ball. So they either need to step back if he's going to allow them to put that much pressure on, or catch it and deal with the pressure.
A lot of hands on knees, a lot of players taking a bit of a breather after that set of phases. Canada and the United States looking to book their ticket to Uruguay for the Junior World Rugby Trophy, August 29th.
Just wait.
Interesting, 2 Americans right behind the scrum in sort of an I formation, and they split. But they're having troubles getting the ball away.
3-on-2 for the Americans. Rodriguez, fancy feet, look at him go. Breaking tons of tackles, offloading to the big man. Torres already has 1 try here today. The Americans are on the front foot here. 2-on-1 on the outside. Can't quite get a handle on it there. That was Harley Wheeler. So the Americans showing tons of life going through the hands.
Yeah, and they're very comfortable hitting up one way and then coming back quickly against the grain, often through their captain, Al Jabori. And this is the final pass. This is great footwork for not the first time today, and he keeps the ball alive. But the Canadians bend and don't break. And the big tackle comes in back from Matt Bukaboom in a covering role. Condensed lineup for the U.S. Gives them midfield options to their big man.
Beautiful toss there by Kotze to the back jumper. Here goes Teal, steps off his left foot, driving forward. Finally brought down, high tackle. Here's a free one for Canada. Teal going to the boot, realizing the winger was up flat.
Get the mark for me.
Monster kick going all the way into the American end zone.
Wow, this is fascinating. They're actually going to have an advantage. It would have been a 22-meter dropout, and he's going to come all the way back to the Canadians' 22 to give them possession. Another beautiful kick into open field by Teal off the left foot. Got to credit the Canadian kicking game today. Lots of territory gained.
Okay, we'll play the lineup, or they're going to kick it anyway.
So they're coming back for the penalty.
Just stay off the head, please.
And there is an injured player. The American captain asking if we could just stop the game, but the referee said no. They're going to kick the touch, so we'll have a line out. I think that's the number 8 for the Americans. Brian Nolt, man, not too far from here, Central Washington player. There's a few of them in the team. Good program down there. He's just getting his wrist strapped up at the moment. And with just about 6.5 minutes to go, the Canadians will be happy with the scoreline, but both sides, I think, will be concerned about the accuracy, the lack of ability to keep the ball and put pressure on, and both sides showing some lapses in defense that haven't really been punished. The Canadians perhaps doing a better job of that.
Well, that's the difference between club or university rugby. Now these guys are on the international stage. The Canadian senior men's team watching on. They know that if you want to make that jump to the national team, mistakes like easy knock-ons or not finding touch or missing your conversions from right in front of the sticks, those cannot happen in international rugby.
And just to the right of that grandstand is the Canadian full senior men's 15s team, included O'Leary, who wore the 10 jersey last year, and Andrew Coe, who captained this team last year. So a clear pathway being identified and shown by the senior players that if these boys play well for the U20s, they're going to get a shot with a big team.
Wide spin ball from Walsh. Here's Rodriguez. Little step on the inside one more time. The man's got pace for days. And Ngongo knocks it down.
What?
Forward from White.
So the original pass from Rodriguez was forward. Then it was knocked on by Ngongo. So Rodriguez, the man with pace and the man with a step. All sorts of deadly here for the Americans, but they can't convert points.
Christian Rodriguez, he's been a thorn in the Canadian side. The man from Lindenwood, joined by several of his teammates here. The grade 7 school, we saw them last week in Philly. That was the pass that was deemed to have gone forward. And he has been very dangerous, and I'm sure at halftime the Canadians will talk about giving him much less space. It's Christian Rodriguez doing very well at the back for the U.S.
Set.
Here's Hurst from the back.
Use now.
Kelly going to the boot, high kick right into midfield, just inside the 22. Giving it right to the danger man again. Here's Rodriguez pushing it out wide.
Very slow for those American backs to come back, but they do get possession, and they've stretched the Canadians. Slow ball here, just what the Canadians would like.
Torres wrapped up by 2 Canadians. Referee saying tackle, release the player. Here's Al Jabori, met by 2 Canadians. Americans loaded on the blind side. Good burst of speed there. I believe that was Wangluski. Couldn't quite get through the gap. Now here are the Americans. Tons of space. Ball back on the inside. Tackle coming in from Teal. Canadian player down on the far side. Here's Al Jabori again.
Rick! No.
2 Canadian players, pardon me, on the far side. Elias Ergus and another Canadian player, both receiving some medical attention on the far side. Good hands there by the Americans. Burst of speed right into the midfield now. Tackle coming in by Will Kelly. Canadians are down 2 players. It's 15-13 here. Driving forward there is Torres and Al Jabori. He's about 5 meters out. Here's Al Jabori. Brought down, diving over the line. Try time for the American captain, while Canada have 2 players down with an injury.
Well, credit the American attack. They were relentless. They got it to their danger man. And Al Jabori, who's had his hands on the ball many, many times, stepping out of 2 tackles. And Will Kelly, who just make a fantastic tackle in the sweeping role, can't do enough. And Jabori exercises his rights as he bounces and then reaches out and scores, which is one of his options as the ball carrier.
Gareth, you mentioned before the game, Al Jabori captain the Sevens program under Mike Friday in Singapore. And as you see on your screen there, Captain George Barton getting some medical attention. Not sure if that's an HIA. Yes, I believe it is. He's heading into the medical tent. He's bloodied over his right eye. And as well, Elias Ergus. So it must have been the 2 Canadian backs knocking heads in the tackle. As just off your screen there, the kick coming in by the Americans. So just nearing halftime now.
So I think, Brian, both of those are blood. We're going to see 2 substitutes on the field. It's going to be Brenning Prevost on. And I didn't see the other number, but that is how quickly this can change international rugby. It's never over. The Canadians very much in command. The Americans clawed back. Credit to them for taking the advantage and scoring through their skipper. Only a try in it at the moment. 3 minutes to play.
High hanging kick coming in from Will Kelly. Scooped up there by Ma'afu into midfield. Canadians have to be strong in last few minutes here. Walsh getting out wide. Stopped up midfield. Finally wrapped up by Teal, a little bit high. Here's Al Jabori. Ball back inside, support runner. Ruck is formed. Americans have about 2-man advantage here if they can use it. Driving forward is Ma'afu.
Always behind.
Going through the hands, brought down there by Will Kelly, just shy of the halfway. Here's DeHaas. Torres.
Ball available, play on.
Walsh into the midfield.
Good line
Beautiful
speed
tackle
from
there.
Canada.
That was James O'Neill. Americans walking on this open side. Tackle coming in from Kotze.
No, don't kick the ball.
Working this open side here. Tackle from Bukaboom. Tiptoeing towards the sideline. Here's DeHaas.
Well, discipline from both sides. The Americans in attack into 10 phases, and the Canadians holding their line for the moment.
Oh, and a good play there by the number 9, DeHaas, finding the big man on the near sideline. The Americans marching up the pitch here. Here's Marshall, out the back to Walsh. He sees a gap, goes himself, brought down by Kutzi. Can't get the offload off, but it's done by the Canadians. Kick forward there, needs to find ground, and yes, it does. A beautiful clearance kick. That was coming in by Hurst. You can see the Canadians exhausted, slowly walking up the field here.
Well, for the first time today, the U.S. able to put together serious phases, and we're starting to test at the end of this first half both sides' shape, both sides' organization. And in the end, it was a knock-on by the U.S., and Canada stole it and kicked it long. Had that ball stayed on the field, it would have been very interesting.
Where are we? Right there?
But some tired players out there.
Stand here, please. Hang on.
Less than 1 minute to go before the half. Canada would love to get a few more points here leading into the break. Al Jabori can't get a handle on that, but referee saying it was played in the air.
6 white won the contest. in the air.
Wow, that's an interesting interpretation. Won the contest. He didn't because he didn't catch the ball.
Yeah, if you throw your hands up, it just takes the credibility away from my decision, so let's not do that.
Wow. Okay, so another little chance here with a penalty kick for the U.S.
Beautiful clearance kick going from the 22 all the way down to Canada's 40. This will likely be the last play of the game, or last play of the half, pardon me. Now it's the Americans' opportunity for an attacking ball here.
U.S. showing a full line out at the moment. Or Al-Jabari's in the 9-hole. This could be interesting. See if they drive or maybe shift and throw it back to him. It's gone long.
Well over the top.
Ball.
Taken well there by Ma'afu, finding Al-Jabari right away. That looked like a set play going over the top. Here's DeHaas to Walsh. Good burst of speed there. Thrown over the top. Americans looking deadly with ball in hand. There's Rodriguez once again. Advantage. High tackle.
Penalty advantage.
Here's Ma'afu. Will Kelly struggling to bring him down. Finally does inside the 22 now. Here's DeHaas to Walsh. Here's Al-Jabari. Can't get a handle on it, but going to come back to the earlier advantage.
Yeah, there's a high tackle as Rodriguez was weaving his through the Canadians. Going to come right back. It's kickable. The game, obviously, the half can't end on a penalty, so the Americans will have an option to either kick it poles or stick a line out in the corner.
Hang on, Captain, what's your decision? Line out, perfect.
And indeed, he signaled to the line out.
New World Rugby laws this year that on the end of the game and the end of the half, you can kick to touch off a penalty and get the line out. Al-Jabari saying, yes, we want that. We want to start the half exactly the way that we want to end the half just exactly the way we started it, with a driving maul opportunity deep inside Canada's territory, trailing by one converted try.
Some tired red jerseys, but you see a bit of life in the Americans. There's some high fives out there. They know they're sniffing a chance to get equal right at the half here. 15 meters out, what can they do? The men in white, the Eagles, trying to score and tie it up.
Ascaro finding Ma'afu, offloading, slick there to Jorstad, driving forward. Here's Walsh. Players in support. Another slick offload, can't quite get it down there, but it is knocked on. So Canada perhaps sneaking away with a 7-point advantage in this one, as the Americans can't quite convert off a deep line out to end the first half. Gareth, lots of moments of excitement so far. How are you feeling for these Canadian teams? Lots of big crowd support here for the Canadians. How do you think they've been playing so far in the first half?
Well, there are the senior boys, the national team, Coach Mark Anscombe, having a close look at some of these players. Big Evan Olmsted, who wore the U20 jersey as well, as many of these men did. They'll be concerned. The last 10 minutes, Canada looked a little bit tired and looked really disgruntled. And the men in white, as we just noted, the Americans seem to have the upper hand. They're starting to break tackles. So I'm sure the message for Canadian coach Jeff Williams will be, put that defensive line in place, hold it, stop falling out of tackles. And for the Americans, I think they'll want to keep together, keep phases together, and keep trying to find holes in the Canadian defense.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in a few minutes. Second half, Canada leading the United States 19-12 here at Ellerslie Rugby Park. Game 1 of the Junior World Rugby Trophy qualifying series. Stay tuned.
Catch every scrum, tackle, and try as Canada battles the USA for a spot at the 2019 Rugby World Cup in Japan. Cheer on Canada versus USA June 24th at Tim Hortons Field, presented by DHL. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.ca.
The best piece of advice I ever got was not to give up. I was cut from the provincial teams the first couple of times, and then I had other coaches after that tell me that I'd never make it and succeed in Canada, and really didn't think I had a chance in rugby. Feeling of being underestimated just gives you more want. I go to the gym every day, working as hard as I can, on and off the field, to make it on the international scene.
Maybe it's the 2.5 centuries of friendships that have begun over Guinness. Maybe it's our welcoming balance of roasted bittersweet flavor, or how the long-lasting head keeps every sip fresh over the course of a long conversation. But there is something about a Guinness that reminds you there's less that separates us than brings us together. Here's to us all.
We're here to celebrate years of hard work from so many people whose collective vision for what rugby can be in Canada has served as the catalyst for why we're here today. This site will house a 19,000 square foot, two-story, world-class national training center with all the necessary amenities, equipment, and services that our high-performance athletes need to reach the next level.
And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to announce that this building, going forward, will be named the Al Sharon Rugby Canada National Training Center.
It's humbling. I mean, I'm very proud of it, and but you know, what I'm happiest and proudest about is that the building is being built. My name being attached to it is great. It's icing on the cake. But now we have a set place for our athletes, our men and women's team, our 7s and our 15s, and now we're going to have a high performance center that really will allow them to reach their full potential as athletes.
You need to give the players the best opportunity to go on the field and be successful. You know, the minimum standard to be able to achieve that now is to have these world-class facilities, to have a place where they can come and dedicate to their training, and that's the starting point, you know, so we've got that in place.
To have this as like a home facility, home training for us in Langford, in Victoria, in BC is outstanding.
The opportunity to create a world-class national training center for our high-performance athletes would not be possible without the support of the Government of Canada, the City of Langford, and it's as well a huge thanks to a strong donor community, people who are committed partners in making this facility happen.
I must say to the rugby family here and to all of Canada that you have one of the greatest ambassadors of the game and of the country, Al.
To have that recognition of him here today, he just really is a genuine man, and he deserves it all. So huge congratulations to him, and I look forward to hopefully, you know, living up to his legacy one day and being an inspiration for kids as well.
To have the respect of my teammates and the supporters and coaches, that's the biggest thing for me.
What began as a pristine golf community with its 2 Nicholas design courses and the stunning West End Bear Mountain has grown to become one of North America's most celebrated urban resort communities. And now, Bear Mountain is pleased to introduce its newest neighborhood, Cypress. Discerning purchasers can choose from executive building lots and homes, gated community and townhome living, all just minutes from Victoria.
We're back here at Ellerslie Rugby Park. Halftime, Canada leading the United States 19-12. I'm joined now by Andrew Coe, member of Canada's national men's team. Got his first cap last weekend against Georgia. We'll start things off with the U20s here. How do you think the boys are playing so far?
They're playing pretty great. I know a couple of guys, and they're really showcasing their skills. I'm very impressed with their scrum. They've been dominant all game in that, so hopefully they can keep that going in the second half.
You were a member of Canada's under-20 team the last 2 years. You captained them last year. How big was that opportunity for your rugby career?
It was amazing. For most of the guys, it's, you know, huge honor and first opportunity to throw on the maple leaf, and so there's a ton of pride that goes behind it, and to be able to play with a bunch of friends that you've across the country that you've made playing rugby is amazing.
You're originally from the Markham Irish. You've won a couple of BC championships with the UBC Thunderbirds the last few years. How exciting was it for you to wear the Canadian jersey for the first time last weekend?
Oh, it was amazing. I couldn't really put it into words. My parents came out and watched it, and I just wanted to really enjoy the moment and play good rugby. Unfortunately, it didn't go our way, but we're looking forward to the next couple of weeks leading up to the qualifiers.
This weekend you guys face Romania. Going to be similar to what you guys faced against Georgia. I know the team hasn't been announced yet, and I don't know if you're starting or not, but how's the emotion and how's the attitude amongst the group now that you guys have arrived in Edmonton?
Oh, great. The facilities have been amazing here. We've had a good couple hit outs today and yesterday, and the team's looking pretty sharp moving into Saturday.
How difficult is a player? Like, I know you guys have the 2-game qualifying series against the U.S. in the back of your mind. Is that something that you guys are talking about daily, or is your focus on one game at a time?
We're doing one game at a time. We needed to get through Georgia and we need to get through Romania and we need to play our best games in those 2 games in order to move in and qualify for the World Cup. But we're not looking forward to the U.S. too much, but it's definitely at the back of everyone's minds.
Well, thanks, Andrew. Canada takes on Romania on Saturday, 3 p.m. Mountain Time. That one's live on TSN2. Thanks very much, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Thank you.
DHL Express. We score at the speed of yellow.
Jetlux, a new height of luxury.
Rookie rugby is a fun, safe, and affordable way to get introduced to the great game of rugby.
I love seeing little kids out there enjoying the game as much as I did when I was younger.
It really teaches a wide variety of skills, catching, passing, evasive running, so it's good for developing athletes.
I think there's a lot of skills you can develop if you take the contact element out of it, and playing flag rugby or touch rugby is a good way to do it.
By making it flag, then the parents are a lot more comfortable and the kids are also a lot more comfortable to try things.
I think it's important that you start at a young age to develop that skill, but also you're developing like a culture and a community.
I like that everybody comes together and they all take a knee and then they all listen to coach.
It felt like we were like watching the rugby sevens but actually playing because it was really fast.
Best part was being happy for your friend to score.
I think the most important thing is just to keep it fun, so that way we keep kids involved in playing rugby. It's a great sport and it's a great school of life.
My best
HSBC Rookie Rugby presented by Honda, playing a big role of growing rugby in Canada. Welcome back. Halftime here, Canada leading 19-12 over the Americans. Will Kelly getting us back underway. Massive half of rugby ahead for these two sides, looking to book their ticket to Uruguay for the Under-20 Junior World Rugby Trophy. The Americans spinning it out from their own half here. Burst of speed down this near side. Isolated, Canada could poach this ball. Number 8 there, Brian Nault. Hernandez on this near sideline. Dahas to Ma'afu. Wrapped up in the tackle there by Connor Sampson. Couple of changes on for both these teams. Al Jabouri, the captain. And a danger runner, 1 try already so far in this contest. Here's Ma'afu. Good chop tackle there by the Canadians.
Keeps gun through the middle there.
Yeah, close law, Charles. Don't kick the ball.
Don't kick the ball. That's interesting. He must say, I don't know.
It's the new law. You can't kick the ball.
Well,
it's a ruck.
You can kick the ball if it's an open play. So an interesting discussion. That's a kick, a long kick that's missed the corner. If it goes dead, and Brenning Prevost trying to let it go dead because it would have been a scrum all the way back from where he kicked it from.
So another monster kick in this game, but that one's sailing into Canada's dead ball area. So we'll have a 22 dropout now for Canada.
Don't kick the ball at ruck time. Don't kick the ball at ruck time. I have to penalize.
Here we go. Will Kelly looking open field again, and he's found space.
Into the hands now of Nault. Goes himself. Trying to bring him down. Good tackle there by Bukaboom.
Rock.
Here's Walsh. Slick stepping there by Matthews. Driving forward, still on his feet. That's a good phase there by the inside center. Out the back now for the Americans. They've got numbers on this near sideline. Ball back inside. Hernandez wrapped up by Teal. Cole Davis in support.
Ruck first.
So there's hands on the ball from the arriving Canadian player, and the referee saying the ruck was formed.
Ruck first. Over here.
No communication before the penalty, but Canadian player needs to be aware of the referee's expectations. And the coaches did talk about stealing possession from the Americans, but I've got to say, Brian, now this first half, it's been all the U.S. Eagles. Coach J.D. Stevenson clearly encouraging them to play with width. They've gone from sideline to sideline. The big man, Brian Noltz, appeared several times, and they seem to be building on that last 10 minutes of the first half, showing real confidence here.
Canada without their captain, George Barton, who's off. He was originally getting some tape up after a cut over his eye.
Well, there's a maul there attempt that went down, and the referee's saying it's going to be a scrum because the maul had stopped, I suppose.
Yeah.
McMullen has moved to the outside center.
The mark is one.
Brenning Prevost moved into fullback. Tons of substitutions on for both these sides.
Yeah, so Canada want to find some rhythm here. Little scrum half was good in the first half.
Crouch.
Fraser Hurst caused a few problems, linked up with his number 8.
Bind.
And I want to do similar things here. That Canadian scrum dominance seems to have dissipated. Let's see if they can get the front foot here as they do. Excellent scrummage.
Just hold this space now.
And that's the platform Teal and Hurst want.
Here's Kelly. Goes himself driving through the line. Here's Will Kelly. He's got Teal in support. He's got 2 players on his outside. Quick through the hands. Here we go once again. McMullen around the outside. Does he have the gas to beat Hernandez?
Oh.
And he spilled it forward. I don't believe it. Hernandez, the magic man, getting back on defense. An indefinite try saver as the Canadians go through the hands but can't convert.
Well, Will Kelly's been encouraged to run, encouraged to back himself, not only his club play out in BC, but for this team. As that left shoulder goes up for Canada, that's the space that Kelly wanted, the tackle he rights. And I thought they executed well. They linked very well here, through the hands, good discipline, and they got it to Canada's pace man, but the American pace was too much.
That could be a missed call there by the referee. That was an offload from McMullen, and that went off Hernandez's hand. So this should be a Canadian ball because it went out the back, but we'll have a line out now for the Americans. That's one as they set the drive here. Deep kick going over the head of Ngongo. So that's a big turn of events. We have a line out, or a scrum on 122, a line out on the other 5. Now we're back to the 40-meter line here. So lots of excitement early in the second half.
But Brian, you've got to credit the Lindenwood man, Rodriguez, getting all the way back there. And perhaps again a little naive from Aidan McMullen. Could have rolled that tackle, keep possession, be strong, hit the ground, and bounce over the line. He tried the offload, as you said. Regardless whether the interpretation was right, the ball is loose, and the Americans looking for a substitute. Maybe some blood on the big number 8, Brian Nolt. And in fact, the American subs are warming up in the dead balls. He's had to come all the way back down. You see him taking off his green penny there, just coming into shot.
Justin Johnson stepping on the pitch now. In for Nolt.
Canadians with a reduced line out, 5-man again. That doesn't look very straight, but play on to the ref.
Here's Kelly to Teal, cutting back inside. That's better body position there by Teal. Trying to get a quick ball. Driving forward there is Curry into the American half now.
A little bit slow, but good pattern from the Canadians.
There's Sampson driving forward. Cole Keith brought down. No, he's not. He's still burst of speed up there over the 40-meter line for Canada. Kelly has players in support. Here's McMullen, burst of speed. He's got players outside, show and go. And here's McMullen. He will not be stopped this time. Aidan McMullen touching down for a beauty.
Well, that's what he does well. He's got the pace, but he's also got the show and go. Will Kelly directing traffic very well here. Not being tempted to throw it over the top with their extra man. He hits the short runner, and at pace, Aidan McMullen comes through. And as you rightly say, Brian, no mistake this time. And the man from Saint-Anne de Bellevue gets it done.
Toured South America last year as part of Canada's Maple Leaf Sevens development program. Head coach David McGrath keeping his eye on him. Damien McGrath, pardon me.
And Brian, I was just about to say, this game has been wide open, and you know, Canada with the first try of the second half, really important. But now the next 4 or 5 minutes, important to see which team is going to stake their claim here.
Well struck by Kelly, and the flags go up. Canada pushing their lead now. Against the grain of play, the opener of this second half has been mostly led by the Americans, but McMullen just too much pace, and that man right there in your shot, Will Kelly, getting it done off the boot.
Didn't he do well? He picked it out well. But Brian, because of the format here, the 2-match series, it should be very much keep going, same things, find the holes. You know, the score in this, the result in this match does not really matter. It's the points and it's the difference they can establish. They've got to stop the Americans for Canada, and the U.S. have to start making some midfield tackles.
Taken well there by Liam Dole. Teal, pardon me. That is O'Neill calling for it. Here's Kelly going off the left boot.
It's going to work.
Awkward
it's
kick,
going to work.
but it worked perfectly into the hands of Ngongo, but he can't hold on to it. Here's Fernandez. Good hands there by the Americans, but finally going to ground. Another Canadian player down, holding a hamstring. That looks like that one is O'Neill. Canada down to 14 players here. Ma'afu stopped. 2 Canadians. Marshall smashes forward for the Americans. Here's DeHaas to Walsh on the outside. Good tackle there by McMullen, grabbing him by the bootstraps on Wheeler. DeHaas. Show and go there by Torres. Walsh out the back. Here's Hernandez. 2 players out wide. Ngongo comes up, shepherds towards the sideline. There's that big body on the far side we've seen so many times. Here's Al Jabori, goes himself, driving through the line, breaking the gain line, trying to find the offload. Does well to just retain possession. Into the hands now. Oh. Jumping in the tackle there is Wangluski. That could be dangerous. Here's Walsh. Canada up to the challenge here in defense. And they have stolen that ball. Multiple phases by the Americans, but not releasing is the call.
Great team tackle, great team defense. James O'Neill and Aidan McMullen combining in the end. Good defense from the Canadians, but the Americans with tons of possession. Walsh is just a little bit guilty. He's very deep at the moment, so it looks like the Americans are creating extra numbers on the outside. But because they're so deep, the Canadians can get across and snuff it out before it gets into space. So that's something that Americans will want to address, their depth. You want to see your 10 up as flat as you can. That man's been excellent. Harley Wheeler, he just is getting the ball so deep. He's got too many red jerseys around him. Canadians, they've done all day walking to that line out, taking their time, setting it, and that is their indication.
Going to the back is Kotzi. Taken beautifully there by the Canadians, just setting the drive. Americans will have to get quick to it. They're doing well, the Americans. Referee telling him to use it one more time. Here's Will Kelly, finding McMullen wrapped up in the midfield there by Thomas. Good vision there by the American outside center. Going himself, little show and go by Hurst, wrapped up in midfield. Good pick and go from the Canadians.
No, leave it for.
Here's Kelly to McMullen. Goes himself. Good burst of speed there by the last try scorer, McMullen. Little step back on the outside. Good ball position here for the Canadians. 7 meters out from the try line now. Hurst to Kelly. Goes himself. Ball over the top. Cole Keith can't quite connect the hands. Here's Prevost on the outside. Teal. 2 players outside him, going to the offload. There's Kotzi, and Ngongo. Does he get it down?
The touch flag is up, and I don't think he's got the ball down.
I don't believe it. Anton Ngongo, touch it down, man.
Touch first, knock on first. So we have an option.
Heard the question, no response. Great team play, good interlocking, offloading off the ground. Excellent. All the players, Kutsi doing his job, but in the end, our try scorer, Anton Ngongo, couldn't get it down. He knows it. His head is down. I think it's going to be a knock-on and a scrum to the U.S. But Brian, outstanding play from the Canadians. Good interlinking. Two very good decisions from Aidan McMullen not to force the pass, as we mentioned in the first half, to keep the pressure on. By not throwing that 50-50 ball, you keep the Americans defending. I think Cole Keith may look back at the tape and realize he was in.
Set, just wait.
But he offered. That's gone down. But
yeah, both sides on the far side.
A couple of those players maybe needed to back themselves from 10 meters out.
Impressed by the pace of this second half so far. Both teams showing their electric play. Sideline to sideline there, but Canada can't quite touch that ball down. Score still 26-12 as you see on your screen there.
Crouch.
Just worth reminding, Brian, these teams will go at it again Saturday before the big test match. Canada-US here in Edmonton. The aggregate score winner will go through the Junior World Trophy.
Loose head prop, straight in.
Loose head prop straight in, says the referee, presuming he's boring in.
That's good enough.
Lots of pressure on there. Hands up, as you'd expect from the Canadians. Keith Cole. But no doubt from referee Chris Asmus. So the Americans will dodge the bullet a bit, trying to use that banana kick, and he does fairly well.
Number 12,
Time is off, and we're going to have a sub off the field for the Americans. Will be Aaron Matthews, St. Mary's product.
Come inside, please, boys.
Didn't really get a lot of space.
USA's backline spread out wide here. Here's Walsh. Over the top, trying to expose the Canadians out wide. Good tackle coming in by Sampson. Pardon me, that was Davis. Here's Ma'afu. Danger man on attack. DeHaas into midfield now. Thomas. Drive forward there. Big hit by James O'Neill. Going to the open field here. Here's Al Jabori. Goes himself. Spinning in the contact. Walsh. Missing out wide. Tackled well by Curry.
Good counter ruck from Ngonge.
Al Jabori out the back. Calling for it. Good burst of speed right up the middle there. That's Thomas. He's still on his feet. He's got a man on the inside. This could be a try for the U.S. Brought down there by Torres. Americans calling for it, but the Canadians equal to the challenge, turning that ball over. The break was made by the outside center, Lorenzo Thomas, linking up with Damon Torres, but Canada getting back.
Well, this time, instead of going wide, they've come shorter, and that man has been very dangerous. Brenny Prevost chose not to take the runner, but because it was the lock, he was gathered in, and some frustration from the Americans. It looked like the ruck may have been formed. The Americans are penalized for not releasing the ball. Canada able to clear their lines. So is that going to be a big moment as big Damon Torres, Damo to his mates, couldn't find another supporting player to keep that drive alive for the U.S.
Time on, please.
14 and a half gone here in the second half. Canada up by 14 points. Taken well there by Dole. Here's Kelly. Teal driving forward once again. Another good tackle by the Americans. Hurst trying to find his fly half, Kelly, and he does. Was brought back, so this has to stay in. Here's Hernandez. Getting under that one, finding into the midfield there. Bobbling it back there is Walsh. Another poor pass. That one can't quite find DeHaas.
This is looking like sevens out here, Brian.
Into the midfield, Ma'afu. Brought down by Bukaboom. Plenty of American players out here if they go through the hands. Here's Thomas. Back inside, nifty offloading once again. Here's Hernandez.
Keep working.
Tackled well on the cross cover by Davis.
No.
USA trying to use their speed, attacking the width here. Al-Jabbouri brought down at his own 40-meter line. Good counter ruck there by the Canadians. Could steal this ball, and they have.
Well, Connor Sampson, counter ruck. You hear the explanation coming in. Great work from him. And the coaches to our left are screaming, go to the corner, but the players are saying, let's take the points. So, excellent defense from Canada.
USA's danger man out wide, trying to exploit sideline to sideline, but Canada up to the challenge, causing a penalty here. This is well within range for Will Kelly, trying to further his team's lead.
Yeah, I think the coach is probably recognizing there's some scrambling. There's a little bit of panic in the American attack at the moment. You saw those wide looping passes, and the Canadians are very confident in defense at the moment. So keep the pressure on them would be the coach's choice. Stick it in the corner. But it's always nice to get 3 and then look up at the coach's box. When you come back with 0, it's a different conversation.
Here's the kick from Kelly. Definitely has the distance, and the flags go up. The man from Ancaster, Ontario, and the Brantford Harlequins getting it done. Canada now up 29-12.
The flip side to that is you keep the clock ticking over. Sorry, you keep the scoreboard ticking over. You keep punishing the Americans for their mistakes, and that gap widens. More fresh blood on the field for Canada.
Taken well there by Teal. Going off the left boot there is Hurst. Hernandez will have to get quick under it, and he takes it well with a burst of speed, trying to get around Ngongo.
Well, he is the last man Canada wants to give the ball to in open field.
Here's Maafu. Good hand fend brought down midfield. Americans, bodies on both sides here, going to the open field. Here's Walsh. Fresh on the pitch there. That's Martin Kuchkirian. Taken well there by Marshall. Slow ball here for the Americans. DeHaas. Al-Jabbouri driving through the line. Can't get the offload through.
He's threatening every time, isn't he, Brian? He's getting through, but there's no support runners to keep the ball alive off Al-Jabbouri. Penalty against Canadian lock. Number 4, Himdahl.
Good set of phases here by the Americans. Interesting to see what they'll do now. This is within range of their kicker, but they are down 29-12.
You see Mafu staying down. That's a sign he's tired. Both sides are tired. The Canadians have had to defend for long periods here in the second half. And the scrum half will take the territory and the possession. Has he hit the corner? He has. A beautiful kick.
Almost nearing the halfway point here of the second half.
Brennan Prevost on as a substitute, a fly half, but playing at fullback here for the Canada 20s, the UVic product, Castaway Wanderer.
Missed the assignment on the back here. Good burst of speed. And here's Teal right up the gut. Canada want to recycle this ball quickly. Here's Hurst.
There's numbers.
Shooters.
There's
numbers. And the
numbers.
beautiful hands here by the Canadians. McMullen into the hands of Davis. He's got one player with him trying to get around the outside. Couldn't quite get the offload to Bennett Prevost.
Well, that is the explosiveness of this Canadian backfield. Great vision from Fraser Hurst. He made the initial break. Look at that. Quick hands. And unfortunately, the substitute, Cole Davis, needs to run infield. Here, he's trying to offload. He runs out, and that runs the whole team into touch. He needs to get back infield. He's a big man. Keep his hands alive to keep that play going. But great initiative shown from the Canadian backfield off the turnover.
Time on, please.
Good
Taken
line
well
out.
at the back by Maafu. Walsh. Skipped a pass there to Thomas. That ball is spilled forward. I don't think the referee saw it, actually.
There we go. Had a little help from his assistant official. That's a good teamwork. Ball was spilled forward in the tackle. And the Americans, Brian, tactically choosing to run from their own end. not using the boot as the Canadians have done a little bit more. The moment they're getting caught behind their own gain line in their own half. And I've got to say I've been impressed with Connor Sampson on the field for Canada, the substitute prop. UBC Thunderbirds, of course, British Columbia champions, the man from Vancouver, BC.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Great push by the Canadians. Hurst trying to find Kelly, and he does. Into the hands of McMullen. Here's Hurst finding Cole Keith back on the pitch.
No, back.
Trying to attack the blind side, back inside. Good ball there by Will Kelly into the hands of James O'Neill. Canada on the front foot. Hurst goes himself. This is Fraser Hurst, the scrum half for Canada. The beautiful show and go, and another score for the hosts.
Well, Fraser Hurst, in the last 10 minutes, has been playing with his head up. He's choosing the right options. Canada is executing well. Immediate support for Keith as he goes down. Then the inside ball. And look at this footwork from the scrum half. He sees the Americans aren't in place in defense. Head up, steps off the left foot, then off the left foot again, and then has the pace. Wonderful, wonderful, instinctive rugby from the UBC Thunderbird, Fraser Hurst. Brian, that comes when you're stretching a team, when you're playing with tempo, when you're doing your work at the breakdown, then the holes come. And the Americans just not getting into that guard position, and Hurst took advantage of it. Got to credit Will Kelly as well, the number 10, choosing good options in the second half, not forcing the play, and now with the boot, trying to add two more, just pushes it wide. But he's done well, there he is, dropping the ball inside on that occasion, not throwing risky passes outside, and they're showing good variation, and the coach is getting what he wanted. He wanted quick ball at the breakdown. And as these Americans tire a bit, you're starting to see that for Canada.
17 minutes to go here. Canada with a 34-12 lead. Comfortable, but you know they want more.
Great kick from Walsh.
Ball goes back off the hands. Lachlan Curry. Here's Bukabu. Wrapped up quickly by two Americans. Good counter ruck, staying on their feet. Here's Will Kelly, has to keep this ball in, is brought back over the 22. Great hands there by Walsh. Here's Hernandez. Little shimmy and shake, blows a tire but keeps going. Totally fine, Provost finally brings him down. Two players on this near side. Good tackle by Teal. Wheeler finally brought down a few meters out from the 22 now. Here's the replacement. Good Bosch there by Peyton Talia. Still on his feet. Canada have to release in the tackle. Here's DeHaas. Walsh. Maafu. Wrapped up there by Josh Teal. Taking it up now, Tommy Clark.
The difference here, Brian, is the American ball production is just a little bit slower, and they're a lot deeper in alignment.
Trying to find Hernandez, the ball not clean, wrapped up well there by the fullback. DeHaas. Big hit there by Cole Keith, and gets up immediately for the counter ruck. Trying to find a break in the defense. There's Christian Dyer. USA going backwards here. Good possession though.
Well, the ruck's formed, and there's hands in there. No communication from the referee, but clearly the ruck had been formed. The wind is starting to pick up a little bit right to left here, so this is very kickable for the U.S. But I'm sure with this points deficit, with big number 4 down for Canada, Liam Dahl. Well, he's thumbs up, but just cramped. That's over to the coach's booth. So Liam Dahl may not have taken in the electrolytes this week, but he's ready to go again with a thumbs up.
Liam Dahl was part of the Canada's under-19 team that was off to Ireland in 2016. Canada having done a lot of development work over the last couple years, sending U19, U18 teams over to Europe, getting quality international experience for these young players.
Well, what a crucial insurgence from a donor to allow those tours to take place. Makes a huge difference for these young players. So they come up against the Americans having had international rugby under their belt, and they're a lot better prepared, and it's making a big difference here today.
Another missed assignment there by the Americans. Canada have to be quick to gather this ball up.
No.
Pick and go coming from Cole Keith.
Not back on side.
Advantage to Canada. Driving right up the middle there. O'Neill. Will Kelly just going to the boot, trying to find touch. Going to come back to the earlier penalty though. So an opportunity for Canada to get out of harm's way here. 14 left on the clock.
Well, Will Kelly go off his left foot again. This is a better result, but good refereeing because he's saying it's not as much of a result. He's going to get off his right foot and possession in the line out.
I would appreciate if you try to exit, because I know that's what you're trying to do. If it's not good enough, I'll come back. Okay? Thanks for not knocking it on.
All right, so there's the kick to touch.
Big clearance kick there from Kelly.
Still under 15 minutes to play. The pace has dropped a little bit here. I think both sides having a bit of a rest. And that sub on the field. And Alana Gattinger, the manager of this team, and indeed logistics manager for the senior men's team. Very experienced, been to a World Cup.
Beautiful take there by Dole.
It's loose.
But booted forward there by the American player and goes out the back.
Option.
Out the back and almost onto the highway.
Yeah, it's an option. It's a 22 over a scrum.
The referee's giving the Canadian player, says it was knocked on either the scrum option or the 22-meter dropout as it went out the back.
Bring him on, please. Number 4, shooting sub.
You see Georgie Barton there, the captain on the bench. He's been out since about the 20th minute for caution. And Dole doesn't indeed come off the field yet. Cramp is an indicator, Brian, as you know, that maybe it's time to get fresh legs in.
Jamie McNaughton stepping on the pitch, the man who plays for the Voyageurs from Carleton, Ontario.
Bind.
Proud father Duncan will be happy and see if his son can contribute here in the last few minutes.
Now.
And the Man Mountain Teal is off again. He's caused all sorts of problems.
Keep working, Whites, keep working. Yeah, good work.
High kick into midfield here from Kelly. I don't think it had the distance he was looking for, but that one going to ground, giving an opportunity to get the hands on it, and that's beautifully taken there by
McNaughton.
McNaughton, fresh on the pitch. He's got clean legs. Another boot over the top there from Hurst. Here's the race, and Gongo's back for it. Can't get a handle on Walsh. Walsh goes back inside, spilled forward, advantage here for the Canadians. So Canada playing some smart rugby.
Well, great option from Fraser Hurst to put that box kick in behind. Gongo didn't get the bounce he was looking for, but that's the right option. It was turnover ball, well gathered by McNaughton there, the bouncing ball. And look at Hurst, again, he's playing with his head up, sticks it in behind.
Another substitution, DeWald Kotze, the number 2's had a superb game so far. Stepping on there is Stephen Ing from the Capilano Rugby Club via Ottawa, Ontario.
Well, one of the leaders of this team, he's part of the leadership group. And he'll bring a lift to that front row. You see Cole. Keith has been going hard all day. But Ing, a very intelligent player.
Hurst finds Kelly, good speed here, and Gongo can't get a handle on it.
Offside after knock on.
So knocked on, Canadian player.
Oh, Kelly just getting up slowly, a bit of a cheap shot there, and the scrum half's off and going. They've got to change something up, the Americans.
Strong, powerful runner there. That is Lorenzo Thomas.
Balls available.
Ma'afu taking it flat-footed over Canadian halfway line now, trying to drum up a bit of excitement here, trying to get some more points on the board. Wrapped up in the tackle there, Justin Johnson. Here's Walsh. Tip pass there, saw Teal coming in hard on him, getting around the outside. Needs some support here. Good burst of speed. American winger. I believe that's Peter Howard fresh on the pitch. Opportunity for the Americans here on the front foot. That was knocked on by two American players, not able to get a handle on it.
Well, Brian, an interesting time here. 10 minutes to play. Canada 22 points to the good in this two-match battle. And the Americans are trying to play up-tempo. They've put some fresh legs on the field. This is the debate. Do you risk it? Do you go for it and try and minimize that 22 points? Or do you just get out of this one alive and try and come up with a big performance? Because any risky moves by the U.S., as we saw there, are going to give Canada opportunities.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
The ref coach again yelling, keep it in. The Canadian scrum on the move. And the pressure's on the U.S. to stay bound. So that is excellent game management. I got to say, Brian, from a very nervous start from these players, there's Big Teal at the back. They've really showed good game management. They've stopped throwing risky offload passes. They went into the shed at halftime and came out with a concise plan, and boy, have they executed. That kick has stayed in field, so we're going to keep playing here with American possession.
Rare miss there from Will Kelly. That one sails into touch. So it'll still be a Canadian ball, but not quite the distance they were looking for.
Number 9.
And Brian, we spoke about those tours to Europe where they're playing against the best European sides at under 18, under 19 level, and I really think that's what's paying off here, along with a solid coaching crew. But they're taking good options, they're feeling comfortable in defense, applying pressure in defense, and they're not risking their hand. 5-man lineup for Canada. Boone in the middle.
Another substitution for the Canadians, Fraser Hurst, who's had a beauty so far, stepping on the pitch for him at scrum half. Will McDougall-Persilier from the Cowichan Piggies in the Brentwood High School, stepping on his first touch of the ball here, a little show and go. Offside is the call.
Ball still on the ground.
McDougall-Persilier, sorry, Gareth.
Yeah.
Just won a scholarship called For the Love of the Game. That was by Dave Lougheed, former Canadian international, heading down to New Zealand to play with the Crusaders. Good opportunity for that young man from Vancouver Island.
Yeah, Dave Lougheed leading a great group of donors in Calgary. He was at a breakfast last week, and they're committed to the game. And this is why they do it. They want to see that man in the 21 jersey make something happen, and he's a bright spark at a burgeoning Brentwood program under the former Alberta fullback, Mr. Bud Patel, looking to put more Brentonians in international jerseys, the likes of Roe Heinsohn preceding them.
It's your responsibility to finish this game with 15 players in the field.
So, again, Kelly wisely taking the points, taking the clock as well, I think. Not giving the Americans a chance to get back into this one. Previous play, great effort from Lachlan Curry to get that loose ball. Those are the type of battles the men in red have won today that have given them this lead. Clean strike from Kelly. He's pulled it left. Dropout 22.
So a missed opportunity for 3 more points on the final total.
U.S. looking to go long, but good pressure from Keith and Eng. Keith is playing with his mind. That's what you get from playing with the men, getting a full cap. He knows how to work. He's worked very hard today. Brennick Prevost doing what he does well, sticking it back with a good line pressure. Oh, it's picked off in midfield, and it is the substitute, Jamie McNaughton. The Ottawa Irish are going nuts.
We'll talk about making an impact for your team. Earlier on, high kick, he was the first one to get there, and right there you see, watch this, American pass going wild high up into the hands, and McNaughton reaches up and grabs it and outpaces outpaces Eamon Matthews, and another 5-pointer here for the Canadians, and the home crowd are loving it.
Well, Brian, we spoke about the consequences of trying your hand, of risking it, trying to get back into the game. And for the Eagles, that's what happened. And credit Brennick Prevost for sticking it back, saying, here you go, you can have it, U.S. You try and play with us. Kelly doesn't miss on this one, right in front of the poles. So that point differential continues to grow, all importantly, as the combined score will be the team that goes through to the Junior World Trophy. Right now, Canada very much putting up their hands here in Edmonton.
Timing is good.
Ball into midfield there, bobbled, knocked backward. Good hit there by Wheeler.
Zach Rogers did well to recover there.
Wheeler's been all over the pitch today.
Oh, it's on if they run through the hands. Yes, he's missed. Oh, beautiful.
Trying to go for the intercept. Here's the Canadians. Two players in support now. Into the hands of Cole Davis. Does he have the pace to get around Wheeler? And now Hernandez. And he does. There's another try by Cole Davis. Off the kickoff. And Canada are running rampant.
Well, Cole Davis, I'm not going to pontificate here, Brian, but could this be a turning point when we count the points on Saturday? The ball goes over the top, and it's just bobbled by the Americans. Excellent execution from McNaughton in the supporting role. And look at that clean pair of heels shown by Cole Davis. Coming across the field was Wheeler. He's been one of the most dangerous men on the field tonight, but he couldn't do it. But Brian, as I said, it could have been 7 points for U.S. In the end, it's 5 and maybe 7 for Canada. Could that be crucial when we get to Saturday afternoon and decide who's going down to Uruguay?
Well, Cole Davis is a former high-level hockey player. Spent some time playing with the Brumbies U20 down in Australia. He's only been playing rugby for 3 or 4 years.
Will Kelly risking that pass over the top, much to the chagrin of Coach Jeff Williams, but it did get through. Kelly pulled that one badly.
Just a couple minutes to play here. Canada sitting comfortably, 4 points away from 50. Half century would be a nice touch here for this first game, Gareth.
Well, yeah, it's the difference. It's important they keep the U.S. off the scoreboard for Canada, and the U.S. will want to get on there. They need some points.
Called well there by Jake. Good tackle from the American player there. Kuch Kirian driving forward there. McDougall Persilier.
17.
Kelly just calling for the boys in red to keep marching forward, wasting valuable seconds off the clock, giving him a bit more of an opportunity to kick this ball.
This is good discipline. Just over 2 minutes to play. The Canadians will be happy to wind out the clock here. They don't want any mistakes.
Driving well there. Calling forward on this blind side. Kelly going for a little chip kick. Bouncing beautifully in. Here's Davis. Does he have... Goes back inside. Wrap tackle by Wheeler. The Canadians just showing their skill all around the park.
Great support from Canada.
Here, Kelly has to stop. Cut back. He needs some support here. He's isolated. USA could have won this ball.
And Brian, that is a good decision from Kelly. It looked like he didn't know what he was doing, but he didn't force the pass. He didn't throw the intercept, and the referee will let him come back for a penalty. There was a high tackle. Touch judge coming in.
Right, you are, Gareth. Harley Wheeler, who's been just, like I said, all over the pitch today. A little bit high on that ball back inside. Coming from Cole Davis.
Will Persilier sticking in the corner. Canada showing a lot of maturity there. Going slow, using up the clock, but then also taking their chance when it came. Aiming with that heavily strapped thigh. Well, the music's playing somewhere, and it's party time here in Canada. A bit of a surprise. Big drive coming from them now. The ball was dropped, but picked up again. All is formed.
Taken well there by the man from Lindsay, Ontario, Bukaboom. Canada just trying to reset the drive, keep the ball in hand, but into the hands now. Lachlan Curry has had a great game here today. McDougall Persilier trying to organize his forwards.
Well, there's no one in front of Persilier. I wonder if he's going to have a look and a dart maybe.
Canada recycling on the blind side.
Good pressure from Canada, sustained. Lots of bodies over the ball to keep possession, protect the pill.
There goes Ing, driving up forward about 7 meters out now. Canada, numbers on this blind side, I think, go through the hands. McRogers, that ball is spilled forward. but we have an advantage. Offside is the call.
Jeff Williams is yelling something. I'm not quite sure what.
He's telling Scrum he wants to slow the ball down.
Options for Canada here with a penalty 5 meters out. An American injured at the moment. We'll have time off. So full time showed on the clock, but we're going to play this last scrum. And the Americans have worked very hard. The big man there, Devin Marshall, taking a bit of a shot. Again, making sure these players, no risk of any head injury, taking the field again. The Play Smart program in Canada, very much a part of rugby circles. I know in the US, they're taking every precaution to make sure players are protected. Good to see. He will be rested here. And the laws of the game now permit for a new player to come on and serve in this scrum. You know, CEO Dan Payne down at USA Rugby, great to see a good rugby man in charge. He won't be happy with this result at all. He's a proud American, but I know he's doing good things down there. And the safety of all our players is paramount.
This is the first of 4 matches that Canada and the United States will square off against one another. 2 games in the U20 variety are trying to book their ticket down to the Junior World Rugby Trophy. And of course, all eyes are on Hamilton, Ontario, June 24th and July 1st. It's Canada and USA, the senior men, trying to lock in their spot as North America's #1 seed at Japan 2019. Torero Stadium in San Diego, Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton. Time for one last scrum here. We'll see what the boys have left in the tank here. 5 meters out. McDougall Persili, the Canada, just driving forward. Ball at the feet there of Teal, trying to keep it in. Goes one more time. He's 1 meter shy. Brought down there by the Canadian, or by the American #9. Drive forward once again. Just a mass of bodies. Trying to get it down. Looks like he has it over. Referee close, but not quite there. Trying to get it down.
It was down twice. Full time called.
And there you have it. Canada's #20 team victorious 46-12 in the first game of the Junior World Rugby Trophy qualifying series. An emphatic performance by head coach Jeff Williams' team.
And in front of their senior fellows, the men's team, which will be looking to beat the Americans in their World Cup qualifier, as you noted. But a very impressive performance by the #20 version of the national team. The Americans fought very hard. I mean, what an opening from them. First blood in this match. And it looked like Coach J.D. Stevenson's team would be causing some troubles. They had good patches, particularly at the end of that first half, but it wasn't to be their day.
Plenty of respect shown by these two great rugby nations. They will get set to meet again Saturday, 12 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be streamed live on Rugby Canada's Facebook page. Once again, as Canada and the USA will get set to do battle once again. And congratulations. We can't quite see it on the far side, but Fraser Hurst, the scrum half from the UBC Thunderbirds, awarded the man of the match here today in this contest. Congratulations to that man.
Yeah, Brian, I thought he did an excellent job. As we noted, he played with his head up. He's coming back to join his team now. Played with his head up. Great servant. And between he and Will Kelly, they conducted traffic well, and in the end took his chance for a beautiful individual try. So well done, Mr. Hurst. Well done, Canada, as the wounded are being carried off. Some of them physically. That man, the captain, was not able to play the whole match, but they will feel very confident going into match 2 on Saturday. Thanking the crowd here.
Lots of rugby still to be played here this week. Don't forget 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern on Friday night. Canada's women's 15s team close out their International Women's Rugby Series against Australia. That one's live on World Rugby. And then Saturday's a rugby day here at Ellerslie Rugby Park. Canada's #20 team looking to book their ticket to Uruguay, and then the men's team taking on Romania, 3 p.m. Mountain Time. That one's live on TSN2. So lots of rugby for you fans here in Canada.
Well, we got another shot of that Canadian team with Captain Brett Bookeboom looking down his brother Ty Brukaboom was outstanding, as with that whole pack. Cole Keith there, high fives all around. He worked hard all day, as did Liam Murray. Could say right through the team. Curry, the back row were excellent. O'Neill and Curry were pests and bouncing on the loose ball. Big Jake Teal was a force. For the Americans, there were some solid performances. The captain, as ever, Al Jabouri, looked so dangerous midfield, but just couldn't link up with his midfield players. I was impressed with Iskaro in the hooker position, and as ever, DeHaas dangerous at the scrum. The Canadians will warm down now.
And how about the magic man, Christian Rodriguez from the fullback? You know, Mike Friday's probably had a look at him. Tons of speed, tons of pace, and a fantastic step. Unfortunately, they came out on the wrong side of today's contest. So Canada just having a bit of a cool down, a couple of muscle strains in this contest here today. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you on Saturday, Game 2 of the Junior World Rugby Trophy Qualifier here in Edmonton. Brian Kelly, Gareth Reese, thanking you for joining us. Good night.
Catch every scrum, tackle, and try as Canada battles the USA for a spot at the 2019 Rugby World Cup in Japan. Cheer on Canada versus USA June 24th at Tim Hortons Field, presented by DHL. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.ca.
Maybe it's the 2.5 centuries of friendships that have begun over Guinness. Maybe it's our welcoming balance of roasted bittersweet flavor, or how the long-lasting head keeps every sip fresh over the course of a long conversation. But there is something about a Guinness that reminds you there's less that separates us than brings us together. Here's to us all.
DHL Express. We score at the speed of yellow.